If you're like thousands of couples each year, you might find yourself asking about low-budget wedding planning. In this video, I'm going to take it to the extreme. I'm going to show you how to plan a wedding on a budget of $1,000. Now, if you've seen one of my videos before, thank you so much for watching me again, and hey, I really appreciate it. And if you haven't seen me before, by the way, my name is Rick Orford, and I'm the author of The Financially Independent Millennial. And if you like personal finance videos like this one, well, now would be a great time to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. That way, you'll never miss a video. Look, weddings are often the second most costly expense a family will ever pay for. Fortunately, weddings can be affordable. And in this video, I'm going to be covering ways for budgeting a wedding under $1,000. But before I begin, if you like the idea of a low-budget wedding, go ahead and give me a like on this video. It'll give me an idea of how many of you are interested in a low-budget wedding. Now, you might be wondering, what do I know about cheap weddings? Well, I'm proud to say that I've taken part in several $1,000 or less inexpensive weddings. And when I got married, even my own low-budget wedding cost much less than $1,000. Look, we had a small ceremony in a church where a friend of ours was the priest, and everything got finished in under an hour, and then we went for lunch and called it a day. Now, ours was certainly a minimalist wedding. By the way, if you think budgeting is difficult for a wedding, well, you can go ahead and download one of my pre-filled budgets on my website, and the link is in the description below. So let's get started. Do you have plans to get married? If so, congratulations on your event to start a new life. A wedding is one of life's most memorable moments, and with that in mind, you have got to make it the most memorable event ever. And planning a wedding on a budget of $1,000 or even $100,000, it needs a solid plan. The best thing is, you don't have to spend all your savings on your wedding day. The problem with expensive weddings is that it can come back to haunt you if you can't afford it. For that reason, planning wisely for your wedding is one of the best financial decisions the bride and the groom can make. First and foremost, when planning a low-budget wedding, consider starting a wedding budget. It can be in the form of a spreadsheet or a notebook, and remember, the link is in the description below for a spreadsheet. As long as you can keep it updated and organized, you'll be ready to go. And the spreadsheet can also work as a checklist for things to do. There's many things to include in a wedding budget, such as music, makeup, wedding dress, photography, food, gifts, and invitations. The list goes on and on. Once you have a good idea of the items that are needed for the wedding, don't stop there. You're going to need to enter an approximate amount that you're going to spend for each item. Also, remember to consult your family and friends to get some suggestions. With a budget, you can sleep better at night knowing that you're not going to break the bank on your big day. In general, the most expensive item on the wedding budget is the venue. Therefore, to keep the budget under $1,000, locate in inexpensive or free wedding venues. The wedding venue should have enough space that you and your guests can enjoy the entire day or the entire ceremony. But choose wisely. Find a venue that fits your budget, and ideally a free one. Depending on the number of guests you've invited, consider a small and expensive venue that offers everything you need for your big day. Don't hesitate to discuss the topic with your friends and family and get some advice. The venue you choose should be affordable and large enough to be comfortably able to handle all of your wedding guests. One place for a budget wedding is your local church. For example, churches all across America charge as little as $200 for up to 100 guests. And that often includes the organist, the cost to ring the bells, and the basic church decorations. These days, it's also becoming increasingly popular to save on wedding costs by booking the church's hall as the reception venue. Doing so will save you thousands of dollars on your wedding. However, you'll probably have to find catering and a DJ or even a band. Another place you can use for a budget wedding is somewhere outside. If you happen to know someone who has a large enough backyard, that could be an option. Otherwise, you can host your wedding at an outdoor park. I've actually only attended one small outdoor wedding in a park setting, but it was wonderful. And there was even a pop-up pergola set up just in case there was rain, but there wasn't. And there was no caterer on site. Actually, in this case, we even moved to a hotel room for the reception afterwards. Best yet, while I thought a park might have been a failed budget planning hack, it actually worked out really well. And another idea could be to plan a beach wedding. So contact your local municipality first for more information, but if you can pull it off, you could potentially have one of the best weddings ever at the beach. On the other hand, you might agree that you don't need a lavish wedding venue. So you can consider booking a venue at City Hall. Often the City Hall has a beautiful foyer that you can use as the backdrop of your photos. And best yet, it's not going to cost that much. For more information, don't hesitate to contact your City Hall. And last but not least, don't forget your Airbnbs and hotels. Airbnbs can offer a place where you can rent a condo or an apartment or even a home, and it won't break the bank for just a day. And best yet, you can leave the cleaning to the homeowners. And if you choose a hotel, consider booking a suite. But be sure to let the management know what you're planning on doing ahead of time. Now, we all know that wedding decorations can add up very quickly. But if you do it yourself, you can save a lot of money. The following is a list of items that you can grab without overpaying, all while keeping your wedding plans under that $1,000 budget. Number 1, LED lights. For example, they offer an instant something special to any event that's outdoors. They're also perfect for decorating furniture and other things. Also, they can come colored or dimmable, and they create a charming ambiance as they offer bright and bendable design. The budget for this decoration isn't expensive, and you can make the wedding sparkle for less than $50. A staple in any wedding is the red carpet, but a red carpet doesn't have to be expensive. Do you know that you can get a carpet runner, a red carpet runner, for under $25? And considering it'll only get used for one day, it doesn't need to be anything more than red. To get a cheap aisle runner, you don't have to break the bank. They work well in various events and for other things as well, for like graduation parties. Also, they make your wedding guests feel special, when they come out of the car and they arrive at the venue. And it's a budget item. Oh, and do-it-yourself wedding projects will also lower your financial burden after getting married. For example, flowers from a florist can cost thousands of dollars. But it doesn't have to be that way. So think outside the box and look at getting free flowers. Yes, you can find free flowers just about anywhere, even on the side of a road or in a forest or in a field. And you make a day out of it. Grab some friends together and go pick them and put them into bundles. The bouquet will probably look fantastic and no one will probably ever know you got it for free. Now, if you're getting married in a church, you can always ask to use the church's flowers. Sure, it might mean that you'll have to plan the wedding date around the time that the church has its flowers, but if you can, it'll save you thousands of dollars on the budget, so why not? And what about all the food? Well, a low-budget wedding might sound a little crazy, especially since the food alone can break that budget. But you can save money by preparing the food, and no one will mind. If you have some excellent cooks in the family, and I'm sure you do, don't hesitate to ask them. They'll likely be happy to help you out. And when discussing the menu, ask friends and family members what they would love to cook. Then you can build the menu accordingly while splitting up the work amongst all the family members. The wedding cake is something else that you're going to have to think about. Well, you probably have to buy one unless you have a cake baker in the family. Consider visiting a local bakery and be upfront about what you can spend, even if it's a small budget. It's a certainty that the baker is going to be more than happy to work with you. Preparing food can be among the easiest frugal wedding ideas for a budget event. The good thing is that food prepared at home tends to be healthy and delicious. The only thing you have to worry about is the cost of purchasing food that needs to get cooked. Now, what about the wedding dress? Did you know the average cost of a wedding dress is $1,631? Clearly, buying a new wedding dress won't work with a low budget of $1,000. So what do? Well, borrow one. Ask your friends and family if any of them have a wedding dress that you can borrow for your big day. It's almost certain that you'll find someone who knows someone who kept their dress. Then you can have it tailored to fit you perfectly. And at the end of the day, bring it back in one piece. Another thing you can do is buy one secondhand. You can buy secondhand vintage wedding dresses for about $200 to $300. Did you know that you could even go dress shopping on Craigslist? And then after the wedding, just put it back on Craigslist and sell it to somebody else. You might even make more on the wedding dress than what you got it for. As a last resort, you can always rent a wedding dress. Many shops will allow you to rent a wedding gown. It's not the cheapest option, but it'll be the second easiest way to get a cheap wedding dress rather than buying one. And the wedding shop will even tailor it to your exact measurements. Now, moving on, let's talk about the hair and makeup. Do it yourself. If you or one of your friends can do the hair and makeup, you can easily save thousands of dollars on your low budget wedding. On the other hand, if you can't do it yourself or don't know anyone, why not just ask your regular hairdresser for help? I'm sure they're going to be more than happy to do it for you, especially if you invite them to your wedding. Don't hire an expensive wedding photographer. Hiring a professional wedding photographer will almost certainly be out of your budget, as they can cost as much as $10,000. It can even cost more than the wedding venue, can you believe it? So to keep the wedding budget low, consider your guest list and ask a friend or a family member to help out with the photography, or maybe 2 or 3. In your circle of friends, you're sure to find at least one person who's passionate about photography and maybe even videography. And for those budding photographers who are just starting out, it could be a welcome opportunity for that person to show off their skills if you give them a chance. Of course, I could totally understand if you were a little hesitant with the photos. Sure, you want the photos to be amazing. So, as I said earlier, if there's 2 or more people who want to help, let them. Then, after the ceremony, have all of the photos stored in one big folder, such as on Google or Dropbox. That way you can sort through them and print them out at a later time. And last, what about the band or the DJ? So, ask yourself, will you have some older teenagers at your wedding party? Well, if so, why not ask them to help you out and be the DJ? Wedding DJs often cost around $1,000 alone, so this would break your budget. And one thing to note, while you might be getting the wedding DJ for free, you might need some stereo equipment to play the music, and honestly, home theaters will often do the trick. Yes, commercial equipment would work, but the big difference between commercial electronics and home theater electronics is just the warranty. Commercial stereo equipment is made to get beaten up, but home theater equipment is designed to stay put at home. But if you move it once, it's okay, and be careful. So, as you can see, with help from friends and family, it's definitely possible to plan a wedding on a budget of $1,000. So how will you be planning your $1,000 wedding? And what will be in the budget? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.